As we head into the final week of the NFL season, it is time to look back and reflect on the 2022 NFL draft class. We looked at the good last week, so today I want to look at the bad and the ugly. Specifically, I want to look at what rookies disappointed this season. And what's crackalacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Special thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the video. If you want to get your betting career started, then check out Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Broshmo when you sign up, and they'll hook you up from the get-go. But remember, my friends, bet responsibly. Now, we are going to look at some rookies who had disappointing seasons, and I want to preface this by saying this isn't the end-all, be-all, but consider this their jumping off point and see how they progress into next season. But it's important to highlight, yeah, this year wasn't ideal. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it with Devin Lloyd. I freaking loved Devin Lloyd. As you can see, he was number 2 on my big board last season. He went 7th overall. And you know what? Typically with these rookie offensive linemen, and we're going to see a few on this list, sometimes they don't get their foot in year one. Maybe you see a little bit down the stretch. Often in year 2, we'll get a very clear idea of what this player is going to be, and I feel like that'll probably be the case with Devin Lloyd, as he didn't have a good first 3 weeks of the season as he took on Tennessee, Carolina, and Dallas. I think he allowed 10 pressures, 4 sacks through that period. He had a penalty as well, and during the middle of the season, he struggled with a knee injury. He ended up missing, I think, like 5 or 6 games. Returned in week 13. Didn't look that great in the run game. Looked real weak. But I will say, like, he could close off the year with like a good stretch. Like, I doubt that he actually plays this week for the Giants, as I think they've locked up the 6th seed. So they might just rest their starters, which is a shame, man. He actually had a pretty good game against Indianapolis a week ago. But this is a guy I'm still exceptionally high on. I thought he had, between guys like Akem Ekwonu and Charles Cross, he might not have had the ceiling necessarily of those guys, but his floor was a lot safer, and seeing that those guys kind of done better this year, gotten their foot in bit in the NFL, and Neal hasn't yet. I think Neal, next year, we're going to see a much improved player there. I mean, just think with Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas didn't have a great rookie year. We saw a little bit down the stretch, and we look at him now, it's like, yeah, he's one of the best or better tackles in the league, and I feel like the same will be said about Devin Lloyd. Just wait, just see. And I mean, that's going to be the case with all these guys. Just kind of wait and see. Next on here, I got Troy Anderson, the linebacker there for Atlanta. And he went 58th overall in the 2nd round. I had him 70th on my board. And let's preface this with, we knew this cat was going to be a bit more of a project coming from Montana State. He was going to be somebody who was taking a significant level up in competition, that he was going to be a bit more developmental. We kind of saw that at the Senior Bowl. And he has gotten the start the last 3 weeks from week 15 to week 17. Outside of that, he's kind of just been this rotation player outside of a random start. Not a random start, but he got a start in week 6. And you know what? It's not been bad, but it's not been great. 12% missed tackle rate's actually fairly solid. It's just the lack of what he's done at all in coverage, and you could just see that with his last 3 starts, where on 7 targets he has allowed 7 catches. He has allowed a touchdown this year. The completion percentage allowed is basically 94%, which not good. It's not. It really isn't. Typically, at the linebacker position, you want to hover between a 70 to 80% completion percentage. He is 13 to 14 percentage points higher than where you want to see it. But we understand that he was going to be a bit more of a developmental guy. So I went Fred. We know in terms of athletically and physically, he is very gifted. So I think it's just more of a matter of time before things start to click for Troy Anderson. So don't hit the panic button on any of these guys. Next, we got Ed Ingram, Mr. out of LSU. I don't know how I said Mr. out of LSU. That's a hell of a nickname. But he was selected by the Vikings, 59th overall, so a spot right after Anderson. However, my projection for him was far away. I had him as an early day 3 pick, as he was 117 on my big board. So yes, I thought he was a bit of a surprise in the second round there. And yes, he is. I didn't think he was going to be a guy that could start initially, or at least you'd want to have start initially, and he has been a guy that they've started since the freaking get-go. Now listen, the run blocking's actually been really good, which I know that, and you know what, he's in a system where that really works, because he is pretty athletically gifted. It's, however, he's still getting accustomed to NFL power. He really is. He's allowed 58 pressures on the year. That's pretty bad. That's actually really high. That's up there with most in the NFL. Committed 4 penalties, allowed 11 sacks. Now, the run blocking's encouraging. The pass blocking needs to get a heck of a lot better. And to be fair, this is a guy that I didn't think should have saw the field, at least immediately in his rookie season, maybe down the stretch. But whatever. We're here now. And you know what? He has that experience. I wouldn't say he hasn't really taken that next big step. I don't think there's any one game I would say was like, man, this was an Ed Ingram game. This was like, he doesn't have that. There are, you could go look at his tape and there's just, yeah, he looks like a rookie. He looks like a rookie trying to keep his head above water. Again, I think this will probably be better for him moving forward anyway. I think with that experience under his belt, we should see a great improvement next season, or at least we hope to, because if not, then you're probably looking to move on from this guy. You can't have him be the weakest point on your offensive line. You just really can't. So hoping he gets better, but I thought he did solid as a run blocker this season. All right, next on the list is a cat I was exceptionally high on, and Devonte Wyatt. I had him 17th on my big board. He went 28th to the Packers. And to be fair, my biggest gripe why it's disappointing for me is the number there, 192. I am shocked and surprised that the Packers haven't played this guy more. He has been just a rotation player. Like, he has seen an uptick the last 2 weeks, like, in snaps. Like, he has seen, 58 snaps the last 2 weeks, which is huge. Like, he has seen more snaps these last 2 weeks than he has at any point in this season. I don't know why it's taken him so long to really get on the field. I really don't. And through like half his pressures have come in the last 2 weeks. He didn't get his first sack until week 15. Like, I don't know why this cat hadn't seen the field more, because I felt like he was one of the more NFL ready prospects. He was already was 24 heading into his actual rookie year. So if anything, I'm just disappointed he didn't see the field quicker for the Green Bay Packers. But now that he is seeing the field more, I'm excited to see. And with potential Packers heading into the postseason, let's see what he can do there. Next on the list, I have Skye Moore. And to be fair, like, all the guys I put on this list were pick six, like were we're basically third round or higher, and I only have one guy from the third round on this list. So we're talking about first or second rounders. So Skye Moore I was shocked that he went to F54. I thought the NFL was going to be much higher on him. I had 35 on my list. There was some whispers of him potentially going to the first round, but he ends up going at pick 54, gets stuck in a Chiefs wide receiver core that I was kind of hoping he would be able to emerge from. I mean, you have guys like Nicole Hardman, Juju, you had MVS, then they bring on Kadarius Toney, which I was like, I feel like that's kind of what they were hoping Skye Moore to like become. So now you're bringing in a guy that it's kind of his role. He got pulled off of punt returns because of 3 muffed punts. Just not ideal. Not ideal. Now, this isn't the end-all, be-all. Maybe with the Juju being on a 1 year, Juju gets out of town and Skye Moore kind of like takes up the mantle there. Hopefully. But there are, everybody and their mom wants the Chiefs to take a receiver in the first round in their mock drafts. So it's like there's a bit of hesitancy. There's a bit of unease knowing that people aren't satisfied with what the Chiefs receivers have been really given back to the squad. So Skye Moore, I was really hoping that he would have been able to emerge a bit more again. And then on special teams, the muffed punts don't help his case. So really not an ideal year for Skye Moore. Next on the list is Kyler Gordon, playing for Chicago, was drafted out of Washington. I had him at 60 on my big board. He went 39 because I did think he was going to be a bit more of a developmental guy. And I really think that's kind of proven to be the case. I think he is in the top 4 at least in terms of how many yards allowed in coverage, and he's there with almost 800 yards allowed in coverage for a corner. And to be fair, he played a bulk of his snaps in the slot. Typically your completion rate is going to be a bit inflated compared to the outside, but he has gotten a few starts on the outside. And to be fair, like his most recent start there in Buffalo in week 16 was actually fairly solid. Did allow a touchdown, but I mean, it kind of is what it is when you're going against a very good, a very potent offense in the Buffalo Bills. You're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a hard time not allowing them to do damage to you, but he came away with a pick, and often he was forcing the team to not throw his way. They moved him back into the slot, and I mean, to be fair, majority of snaps are coming in the slot. Like, he almost has double the amount of slot reps as he does on the outside. To be fair, though, they have been using him quite a bit more on the outside as of the last 2 games since that Buffalo game, and they're really hoping that he ends up being, that outside receiver. He has been called for 7 penalties this year, so again, not ideal. But I think we've seen I always felt the rookie year for him, like, you probably throw this guy in the slot and just kind of get him used to the NFL speed and whatnot, because there were plays back in Washington where he just kind of looks stuck in the mud, and we know he's a good athlete. We really know he is a very good athlete. It was just more of a play recognition with him. But yeah, I mean, I feel like things will probably be trending in the right direction next year. Have him be that starter on the outside opposite of Jalen Johnson. There we go. I want to say Jalen Jones because I'm in NFL draft mode talking about the Texas A&M cornerback, but no, Jalen Johnson. Dang it, I did it again. But Jalen Johnson was a guy I absolutely loved out of Utah. But I think Kyler Gordon, I think we're going to see better things to come. He was a rookie corner, so let's wait on this cat. Next on the list, I got another offensive lineman in Luke Fortner out of Kentucky, was drafted at pick 65. He is actually I guess you would say, the lowest draft pick here on my list. At 65, he was the first pick in round 3. Outside of this, everyone else are round 1 or round 2. But I was shocked because I had him. I mean, to be fair, I had a 3rd round grade on him. Just, it was like much earlier than I had him on my big board at 92. But he looked like a rookie center. He's allowed 31 pressures, has allowed a sack, has 4 penalties on the year, and I would say he looks a bit awkward in the run game. Like I never thought this guy was an extraordinary athlete at the center position. To be fair, like you could get by being not a like the most fantastic athlete on the offensive interior, but to have this guy started center from the get-go, I thought that was gonna be tough for him, having to face Jeffrey Simmons twice a year. That's not always ideal. And to be fair, some of his biggest struggles have come against exceptionally good competition. You go to his debut, his week 1 matchup was against Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. So it's like, yikes. That kind of sucks. He had DeForest Buckner. Then week 2. Luckily he had an off week against, the Chargers in week 3. Because they don't have much of anything in the middle of that defense. But those are 2 rough teams to have to face. I mean, to be fair, he's facing DeForest Buckner as well twice a year. So, there's probably better things to come for him. He's now has a ton of rookie experience, over 1,000 snaps this year, well on his way to 1,100. It got a very important game this week against Tennessee to help win the division, but hasn't been ideal given where he was drafted. Next on the list is Logan Hall. He was selected 33 by Tampa Bay. I had him 64th on my big board, and just really hasn't carved out a role for himself along that front for Tampa Bay. He has played over 350 snaps, has only 15 pressures and 3 sacks. And the thing was with him was he's this very diverse piece, this versatile piece. You can kind of move wherever, and he's kind of done that. He's played mainly between the B gap and there around the 5 tech, with occasionally him going wide sometimes, but a guy that's really just been stuck in the rotation. I guess he was never gonna be the guy to fill in for William Golston. He is a hardened veteran there, so I guess he was always gonna get stuck in the rotation as they kind of figure out what they want to do with him. But to be fair, since week 8, they have leaned on him less and less and less and less. The highest, if you look at it, week 8 was where week 1 to week 8 was where he was seeing anywhere from 20 to 30 snaps a game, and now since week 8 he's only eclipsed 20 snaps 4 times. So it's I don't know. Maybe we'll see something better in year 2 with it. Maybe he finds an actual they actually find a specific role for him or what they want to do with him. But he's probably one of the guys where I'm I don't know. I really don't know what the Bucs really want to do with him. I mean, specifically, we could go ahead and it looks like they're starting to settle with him, playing this kind of 3 tech B gap type of role. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what they see from him going forward. Next on the list, Kenyon Green. This cat was 41 on my big board. He went 15 to the Houston Texans, and he was a guy that I absolutely loved before the off-draft season process. And to be fair, even during the season, it was I kind of was Gojo, you want to go outside? Oh, buddy, can you just sit down for for me real quick. I gotta talk about Kenyon Green and some of my heartbreak. I know that's how I sound. I'm a whimper because like Kenyon Green, I gave him the benefit of the doubt there at Texas A&M Gojo because the Texas A&M played this guy all over the place. Right tackle, left guard, right guard. And I was like, man, that's not going to work. You kind of want to hone in on one position, right? And just do it well. So he comes into the offseason draft process, and at the combine, he weighed a bit more than I expected. And guess what? He basically moved how you would expect a guy his weight would move, because he's sitting there at 323 and didn't have the fastest times. He just didn't. Felt like he had a little bad weight on, and I was kind of shocked that he still went that high. I thought he could probably win at the tail end of the first round, but he ends up, the Texans, they trade down to 15. They trade down to 15, and they ended up swooping him up. I guess they just didn't feel comfortable trading down any further, or maybe they couldn't find any other teams that really wanted to trade up. I don't know. Regardless, it's kind of been an abysmal year for him. It really has. 43 pressures allowed 4 sacks. He has been flagged 12 times this year, so you're definitely hoping that year 2 things click for him, because this year he hasn't really had that stellar performance, and at the very least I thought he was going to be an exceptionally stellar run blocker, and it just hasn't been so. It's literally been a horrible season for Green. Hopefully we see something better in year 2, but for a guy you took 15th overall, this was bad, like real bad. And a guy that he was my guy for me. But again, some dude that was obviously drafted further than I would have taken him, despite being my guy. But hopefully better things to come for Kenyon Green. It was truly an awful year for you. But last on my list is Devin Lloyd. And there's going to be some people out there like, he did not have a bad season. I mean, he kind of did. In terms of, he's allowed the most coverage yards of any linebacker in the NFL. I think he's in the top 5 in terms of coverage yards allowed. But I understand. I think the positive with Devin Lloyd's play far outweighs the negative. You see him up there with over 100 tackles, only a 15% missed tackle rate. I think that's that's fine. That is fine for your linebackers. 15%, I feel like, you know what? That's solid. That's about average. Typically, you get to 18 to 20%, and you're like, you're just a bad tackler. You get around those, and it's like, huh. But 15, that's fine. 12 pressures on the season with a sack. I kind of wish, really, that the Jags would probably blitz him more, because I really think he is a stellar blitzer. He was at Utah. He certainly was. And you know what? He has made some plays in coverage. 5 pass breakups, 3 interceptions. In terms of completion percentage, allowed 82.4%, so not entirely ideal. He is someone that is often targeted in the middle of the field. He has been targeted 85 times this year. And I mean, when it comes to a guy like Devin Lloyd, like starting from day 1, started every game this year, maybe not. I guess it looks like he has 2 games where he didn't start but played in. But like, he's got a lot of snaps under his name now, and I would say overall it hasn't necessarily been a disappointing year, but in terms of coverage, which coverage was something you kind of like was a concern for me when it came to Devin Lloyd. If I go back to my my draft grade for him, my draft eval, I said he was a guy that was at his best around the line of scrimmage, has a great motor, has great length, and a great frame. And you kind of hope that he's able to use that in coverage because he's really just an above average athlete that could be a liability in coverage. It really can. So, that, again, coverage was kind of like my biggest hiccup for him, my biggest fear. But I guess that it should be expected that coverage would have been his weak spot in the NFL. Now, let's hope that's something that gets better. But I mean, to be fair, he's playing next to, I would say, a very good coverage linebacker, and was it Foye Oluokun? I think that's how you say his name. The former Falcon. So he's playing next to a very good coverage linebacker. Fine. I know. Gojo's a big fan of stinking Devin Lloyd here. I'm done talking crap about him. But let me know in the comment section below who are some rookies you think had a disappointing rookie season. And to be fair, I would say cut it off at day 1 and day 2. If you're talking, well, this day 3 prospect did not have a good rookie year, it's like you're not probably expecting day 3 prospects or UDFAs to have good rookie seasons anyway. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. I'm going to let Gojo out now. He feels I'm taking him hostage. Probably has to go to the bathroom. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. As always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later. All right, let's do it, Gojo.